Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. Now, our lecture today is titled Ethnicity, Indigeneity, and Identity Crisis in Nigeria. Ethnicity, Indigeneity, and Identity Crisis in Nigeria. Now, the geographical entity now known as Nigeria, like many African countries, tasted the bitter pills of colonialism administered by the imperial muscles of Great Britain. The Nigerian entity is, which is an artificial creation, is made up of people of diverse ethnicity, cultures, languages, norms, and expectations, and it was established in 1914 by the amalgamation of the northern and southern protectorates. Although Nigeria attained independence on October 1st, 1960, the negative legacy of colonialism still endures till today. Now, fundamental problems in the Nigerian polity are attributed to colonialism and the forced amalgamation which created the Nigerian entity. That is why, if asked to introduce himself, an American would say, I am an American, I live in Chicago, and I am of Scottish descent. Okay, but his Nigerian counterpart would proudly say, I'm an Igbo from Anambra State in Nigeria. Now, to the American, introducing himself is synonymous with asking him, to define the essence of his nationality, which is unity in diversity, and it's in its truest sense. Okay, it also means defining from which part of the earth he is from, based on deep conviction of national cohesiveness and self-worth, which his nation has bestowed on him. Now, let us briefly look at the concept of ethnicity, indigeneity, and identity. Now, what is ethnicity? Ethnicity is defined as social identity formation that rests upon culturally specific practices and a unique set of symbols and cosmology. According to Unoli, ethnicity is a social phenomenon associated with interactions among members of different ethnic groups, and that ethnic groups, are social formations distinguished by communal character of their boundaries. So ethnicity is actually that that social consciousness that someone actually has this social identity, that actually makes him, to identify with a particular group of people of the same ethnic group. Okay, so that is actually ethnicity. Now, the feeling that I belong to this, to this ethnic group, and everybody from that ethnic group is my brother or sister, is actually what is known as ethnicity. Ethnicity is actually the discrimination. It is actually the consciousness. It is a process in which people, look at themselves as different from other people within the same country. Now, when people that actually lay claim to a particular ethnic group are beginning to identify, with themselves and begin to develop that consciousness. Okay, now you find out that at that point, ethnicity is actually said to be in place. Okay, now let us look at the concept of indigeneity. Indigeneity is defined as a situation when a people who claim to be the son of the soil, are recognized as such. Now, it is saying as, the descendants of a group which were in the territory at the time when other groups of different cultures or ethnic origin arrived there. Okay, now non-indigenous or settler is a stranger or a migrant who does not have rights of occupancy. Now, what have I said? What I've said is that an indigene is the original inhabitant of a place. Now, people who lay claim to a particular geographical location, you know, people whom their great grandparents are actually giving birth to in a particular place, people who actually migrated to a particular place, okay, first, people who actually grew up to see themselves in a particular place, okay, they lay claim to that land as their ancestral land. And so any other person that actually comes after that is actually a settler or a migrant. So to that extent, people who originally, develop in a particular place actually look at themselves as indigenes of that place. Okay, so the original inhabitants of a particular place are the indigenes of that place. Okay, so that is actually the concept of indigeneity. Okay, now let us look at the concept of identity now. Now, identity, on the other hand, is a learned phenomenon through interactions with family, peers, and organization. Okay, organization, institution, media, and other connection. Now, Nigeria actually exists on a tripod of Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, and Igbo. Now, centrally, these three major ethnic groups actually dominate everything to the near total exclusion of other ethnic nationalities. Now, at the state level in Nigeria, for example, let's use Delta State for example. Now, the Urobos, out of the five distinct ethnicities, own and control the state. In Edo State, for example, much better, the Benin, Edo State is actually much better because the Benin and the Ishan dominate, while the Ora, the Igara, the Isako, and others are just peripheral entities. Now, it is very bad in Benue and Kogi State, where the Igalas hold the state at the grip, and then the thief in Benue actually dominates everything to the detriment of the Idomas, the Igedes, and the Akbas, and some other ethnicities within Benue State. Okay, and the same thing actually applies to all states in the Nigerian Federation. Now let us now, what are the way forward? Number one way forward, out of this doldrum is that there should be a proper redefinition of who a Nigerian citizen is, or is required to be in the 1999 Constitution. Number two, emphasis should be placed more on what unites Nigerians, which is centripetal forces, rather than what divides Nigeria, which is centrifugal forces. Okay. Number three, state of origin should be expunged, to give way for state of residence. Number three, good governance is required to help downplay the primordialities. Number four, federal character principle should be strengthened and strongly adhered to. Then number five, which is the last number, rotation of power among the various ethnic groups at both local, state, and national levels should be encouraged. Thank you very much.